Kenya's tourism sector, especially at the coastal belt, suffered a major blow last week following the evacuation of more than 400 British tourists due to security concerns. Several UK tour firms hired chartered flights to evacuate the tourists en masse following the travel advisories by the UK, US, France and Australia. The advisories are said to have warned of an imminent terrorist attack in the coastal region. It being the low tourist season in Mombasa, the impact of the evacuations is still not clear. But operators say millions of dollars could have been lost given that tourism drives a local economy. Kenya's president expressed his outrage at the evacuations and the advisories, which he said were unfair and meant to sabotage the economy. Kenya is now looking to other markets to support the industry other than its traditional Western source markets. And here they're looking at attracting more interest from China. Now, for more on this, we're joined in studio by Philis Kandie, Kenya's Cabinet Secretary on Tourism. It's good to have you here on Africa Live.
Thank you.
Now, looking at what's happened in the last week, how would you describe the state of affairs with regard to the Kenyan tourism industry?
Thank you very much. We're certainly facing a crisis in terms of the numbers that we are expecting, especially for the winter season. We're looking at forward bookings. This was rather almost the beginning of the high season. So that has affected our numbers going forward. And so as government, we're quite concerned about that. Within our plan, our strategic plan, we were actually going to diversify our source markets. Yes, we have our traditional source markets of Europe, of which we still intend to maintain in spite of the negative advisory that came in just last week. But we had planned to look at the other alternative markets. China is one of those markets we were looking to actually tap into. And so we intend to do that.
Now, looking at this diversification, because there's been so much of a dependence on Europe, you have the infrastructure support that you also have the relevant number of flights coming in from Europe.
Yes.
How are you hoping to boost tourism from China if it's got possibly a tenth of what's coming in from Europe?
We recognize that. That's why we're saying we'll still maintain our traditional source markets, meaning that, you know, because we've sorted out the logistics, like you say, it's easier for Europeans to travel to Africa. So we will still maintain those markets, and I intend to visit those markets just to reassure that, you know, they're still key to us, contributing about 42% of our source markets. But nevertheless, we're looking at other markets, of which China is one of them. We're looking at other markets like India also, which is just not very far from here. But again, as you say, rightly put, we have to look at the logistics of it. How will our tourists travel from China? So we are working with the airlines on this plan, so that as the numbers grow, we are going to encourage airlines to have direct flights to Beijing, for example. And so, in fact, Kenya Airways is a member of our recovery committee, because as government, we do involve the private sector in our plans, so that we come up with practical policies going forward, and also reaction to situations like this.
Now, looking at the realities of the tourism industry in Kenya, we know there's a huge dependency and and also looking at those travel advisories, what are the realities for tourist companies in Mombasa, for example? We've heard of people being laid off. There's a combination of low season as well. So what exactly happens going forward? How do they recover from this?
Part of our strategy, again, and for some reason we were prepared as a ministry, was that we needed to look inwards more. We do have a lot of tourists, local tourists, domestic tourists, not only from Kenya but also from the region. You know, we have about 140 million people from the East African region, of which we have not really gone out to tap into that source market. So as part of our recovery, we started this week. We actually launched it on Monday to look at the domestic tourists and also African countries. So for us, that's the low-hanging fruit that we are working on right now. It's already on course, and then, you know, we'll look at the other upcoming markets like China, for example, that we think has a lot of potential for us, and we are willing to pursue.
Thank you very much for your time today. We're going to have to leave it there. Unfortunately, we're speaking to Philis Kandie, Kenya's Cabinet Secretary for Tourism.